The night unfolded in what initially seemed like a tranquil embrace, cradling the quietude of our shared space, with my fiancée nestled beside me, the soft cadence of her snores weaving through the darkness like a lullaby. However, as the tendrils of wakefulness began to coil around my consciousness, an unsettling intuition stirred within me, drawing me from the brink of slumber to a stark awareness of her absence. Gently disentangling myself from the cocoon of bedsheets, I stole a furtive glance out the window, where a solitary beacon of light pierced the neighboring darkness, casting its glow upon a scene that shattered the illusion of serenity. There, in the clandestine embrace of our confidant, lay my beloved, ensnared in an intimacy that bespoke betrayal. A tempest of fury surged within me, a torrent of indignation propelling me towards them with unyielding resolve, their startled countenances mere reflections of the tumult that roiled within my own breast. My fiancée's anguished plea for forgiveness fell upon deaf ears, for in that moment, absolution was a distant shore eclipsed by the turbulent seas of betrayal. 5 years of shared history, she at 43, and I at 47, had led us to the threshold of matrimony, my heart aflame with the anticipation of proposing with a ring valued at $9,530, an emblem of our love and commitment. Yet, the reverie of our future together was shattered in the harsh light of infidelity, leaving naught but shards of shattered trust in its wake. Averse to the siren call of revelry, I had spurned our neighbor's invitation to a modest gathering, opting instead for the solace of an early retreat to bed, mindful of the impending demands of the workday that awaited at dawn's first light. Thus ensconced in the solitude of our shared abode, weariness dulled my senses as sleep beckoned, only to be rudely supplanted by the jarring realization of her absence mere hours later. Venturing forth in search of her, I ascended to the uppermost chamber, where a voyeuristic tableau unfurled before my disbelieving gaze, casting shadows upon the sanctity of our shared space. From my vantage point, I bore witness to the clandestine rendezvous unfolding below, where my beloved, bathed in the moon's ghostly radiance, surrendered to the allure of forbidden desire in the arms of another. Though disbelief threatened to shackle me to inaction, resolve steeled my spirit as I retreated to the sanctum of our chamber, intent on capturing the damning evidence of her infidelity. Yet, fate, in its capricious whim, intervened to thwart my efforts, relegating my photographic proof to a blur of uncertainty. Undeterred, I watched in silence as the fleeting moments of their liaison dissolved into the ether, questions swirling like eddies in the wake of their transgression. With the extinguishing of the fire, they bid adieu, my beloved retracing her steps homeward through the veiled embrace of night. Awaiting her ascent up the stairs, I stood poised at the precipice of confrontation, her surprised countenance belying the cloak of inebriated innocence she sought to drape around her transgressions. Interrogation ensued, her protestations crumbling beneath the weight of irrefutable evidence, tears cascading in a torrent of remorse as she sought refuge in the refuge of repentance. Yet, amidst the shattered remnants of trust and fidelity, a pall of betrayal lingered, casting its shadow upon the fragile foundation of our shared love. Inebriated and devoid of the energy to engage in confrontation that fateful night, I acquiesced to the simple suggestion that she retire to the spare bedroom. Yet, beneath the veneer of weariness, a tempest of doubt raged within me, questioning the depth and duration of her transgression. It felt as though I had stumbled upon a clandestine realm of her existence, a realm tainted by betrayal, leaving me to grapple with the unsettling realization that her infidelity might transcend the confines of a singular indiscretion. That night, sleep eluded me, as I lay ensnared in the labyrinthine recesses of my ruminations, the ceiling above bearing witness to the tumult of emotions that besieged my fractured heart. The revelation of her infidelity pierced the veil of my illusions, shattering the fragile sanctity of our bond. Her betrayal was not a singular occurrence, but a harrowing pattern woven through the fabric of her past, as she had previously strayed from marital fidelity to embark upon a clandestine liaison with her former husband's friend, a liaison that endured for 4 long years. And now, history seemed destined to repeat itself as she sought solace in the arms of our neighbor's kin. Hindsight, they say, is a cruel mistress, for in its unforgiving light, the signs of her propensity for infidelity seemed glaringly apparent, yet I had chosen to blind myself to the portents that foretold her faithlessness. They say a leopard cannot change its spots, and so it seemed with her, a perpetual wanderer in the realm of deceit, her conscience a mere bystander to the carnage she wrought upon our love. The morning after, She offered apologies steeped in contrition, professing love and remorse in equal measure. Yet, her words fell upon deaf ears, for in the wake of her betrayal, love lay scattered like ashes amidst the ruins of our shattered trust. The man with whom she had sought solace, aged 38, responded to my confrontation with an icy detachment, declaring that trust, once broken, could not be mended, a sentiment that resonated with a bitter truth that left no room for argument. Fueled by an inferno of rage, I lashed out, hurling invectives and threats at him, a testament to the tumult of emotions that roiled within me. My background in bodybuilding lent credence to my threats, instilling a fear that would ensure his swift departure from our midst. The sting of betrayal was compounded by the revelation that the object of her infidelity, a man whom I had deemed decent, had acquiesced to her advances without protest, thereby condoning her betrayal with his complicity. Though she professed innocence in her inebriated state, the pain of her betrayal lingered, a wound that festered beneath the veneer of her contrition. The camera, a silent witness to her indiscretion, offered scant solace, its blurry images serving as a grim reminder of her infidelity. As I stand on the precipice of severing our ties, I am burdened by the weight of a heart rent asunder by her betrayal. The specter of her transgression looms large, casting a pall over the memories we once cherished, leaving me to contemplate a future untethered from the chains of her deceit. In the aftermath of her betrayal, I am left to pick up the pieces of a shattered trust, my resolve steeling me against the tempest of emotions that rage within. Though the road ahead may be fraught with uncertainty, I am resolute in my decision to sever ties with her, for in the wake of her infidelity, there can be no reconciliation. Only the bittersweet solace of a heart unburdened by the weight of her betrayal. The realization of her infidelity, although it stings less now than before, has morphed into a simmering resentment within me, breeding a sense of detachment and an uncharacteristic edge to my demeanor. Despite her persistent pleas for reconciliation, I find myself grappling with a profound sense of emasculation, plagued by the gnawing belief that I failed as a man to safeguard the fidelity of the woman I love. Her betrayal, not once but twice, an indelible stain upon the fabric of our shared history. In a bid to salvage what remains of our fractured relationship, I issued an ultimatum declaring my intent to depart should she harbor any lingering affection for the other man. Yet, she vehemently denies any lingering attachment to him, urging me to lay my apprehensions to rest. However, the specter of his presence, intertwined with the fabric of our neighborhood, continues to haunt me, festering within the depths of my mind like a persistent shadow. Her suggestion of selling our home and severing ties with the neighborhood serves as a testament to her desperation to outrun the ghosts of her transgressions. Yet, the prospect of uprooting my life fills me with trepidation, the uncertainty of the unknown casting a pall over the path that lies ahead. Admitting the betrayal to my circle of friends feels like an exercise in self-flagellation, the humiliation of being deceived a wound too raw to lay bare. As I grapple with the decision to depart, the prospect of forging a new path forward, unburdened by the weight of resentment and uncertainty, looms large. The realization that our current abode rests solely in her name underscores the precariousness of my position, tethered to a home that represents not solace but a crucible of fractured dreams. Her inability to shoulder the financial burden in my absence serves as a poignant reminder of the tangled web of dependencies that bind us together. The other man, ensconced in his own abode, remains a spectral presence in the periphery of my consciousness, a stark reminder of the infidelity that precipitated my downfall. The veneer of normalcy that she attempts to uphold crumbles beneath the weight of my seething resentment, her feigned affection a bitter reminder of the trust she callously discarded. The decision to depart, though fraught with uncertainty, is rooted in a steadfast resolve to extricate myself from the web of deceit that ensnared me. Her devastation at my impending departure serves as a bitter testament to the consequences of her actions, a reckoning she must confront alone. As I steel myself for the arduous task of departure, I am fueled by a sense of righteous indignation, determined to expose the truth of her betrayal to all who would listen. Though doubts may linger and wounds may fester, the prospect of liberation from the shackles of deceit beckons me forward towards a future unencumbered by the specter of her infidelity. The fallout from the revelation of her infidelity reverberates through our neighborhood, casting a shadow of suspicion upon her interactions with the men in our midst. The shame of being exposed for her transgressions, coupled with the stark reality that she cannot shoulder the financial burden of our home without my support, serves as a grim harbinger of her impending departure. It is a fate of her own making, and though I harbor no ill will towards her, I cannot help but feel a pang of satisfaction at the thought of her reckoning with the consequences of her actions. In a week's time, I intend to stage a facade of normalcy with my girlfriend, only to vanish without a trace, leaving behind a trail of evidence that lays bare the depth of her betrayal. The ring I had meticulously chosen for her, intended as a symbol of our love and commitment, now serves as a poignant reminder of the shattered dreams that lie in its wake. It is a small mercy that I uncovered her infidelity before we exchanged vows, sparing myself from a future mired in disillusionment and heartache. The aftermath of her betrayal continues to haunt me, its tendrils of doubt and resentment gnawing at the fringes of my consciousness. 3 weeks have passed since that fateful night, yet the wounds it inflicted upon my heart remain as raw as ever. I have taken it upon myself to inform our neighbors of her infidelity, eliciting promises of secrecy in a bid to shield her from further shame. Her history of infidelity, a pattern that extends far beyond our relationship, paints a portrait of a woman unmoored by the constraints of fidelity, leaving a trail of broken hearts in her wake. As I contemplate my departure, I am torn between the desire to confront her with the truth of her betrayal and the temptation to slip away silently into the night. The prospect of revealing the engagement ring I had planned to give her feels like a bitter twist of the knife, a final act of retribution for the pain she has inflicted upon me. Yet, I cannot shake the feeling that such an act would only serve to perpetuate the cycle of bitterness and resentment that has consumed our relationship. The appearance of the other man at our neighbor's party reignites the embers of suspicion that smolder within me, prompting me to question the true nature of their relationship. Though I am loath to entertain thoughts of violence, the mere sight of him fills me with a primal rage, a desire to confront him and demand answers that may never come. As I grapple with the uncertainty of her infidelity, I find myself plagued by doubts and suspicions that refuse to be quelled. The thought of her moving on with her life, unencumbered by the weight of her betrayal, fills me with a sense of profound unease. Though I am hesitant to ascribe ulterior motives to her actions, I cannot help but wonder if she harbors designs on our home, using me as a means to an end. Yet, despite my misgivings, I cannot shake the belief that she genuinely regrets her actions and longs for a chance at redemption. As I embark on the arduous task of finding a new place to call home, I am haunted by the knowledge that the specter of her infidelity will continue to linger, casting a pall over the memories we once cherished. Though I may never fully escape the pain she has inflicted upon me, I am resolved to forge a new path forward, one unburdened by the weight of resentment and doubt. I refuse to grant her absolution. The weight of her betrayal must be borne, and she will feel the sting of consequence when I depart. It is not solely about relinquishing our shared abode. She must confront the magnitude of her transgression. Since the revelation of her affair, I have retreated to the confines of a separate room, erecting emotional barriers to shield myself from the anguish of her betrayal. The tears she shed when confronted with the prospect of selling our home were but a pale reflection of the agony I endure. Her belated realization that my heart is irretrievably close to her pleas for reconciliation serves as a bitter reminder of the irreparable damage wrought by her infidelity. Despite her overtures to start anew by selling our home, I remain steadfast in my conviction that trust once shattered cannot be restored. The specter of her betrayal looms large over our shared abode, a constant reminder of the pain she inflicted upon me. Returning to our house in the neighborhood is a tortuous ordeal, each step echoing with the reverberations of her betrayal. When questioned about the other man's presence in her contacts, she offered a feeble explanation of their purported business interactions. Yet, the extent of their communication remains shrouded in ambiguity, leaving me to grapple with the uncertainty of her infidelity. In my younger years, I might have sought retribution, indulging in acts of retaliation to assuage the pain of her betrayal. However, maturity has taught me that responding to wrongdoing with further transgression only serves to perpetuate the cycle of hurt and resentment. The prospect of navigating life alone after 5 years of companionship is a daunting one, yet it is a path I must tread alone. As I prepare to relocate to a new city, I confront the daunting task of severing ties with the life we once shared. Though the prospect of starting anew is fraught with uncertainty, it pales in comparison to the agony of remaining in a relationship marred by betrayal. The decision to depart is irrevocable, a testament to the irreconcilable chasm that now divides us. The appearance of the other man at yet another neighborhood gathering serves as a cruel twist of fate, a reminder of the insidious whispers that accompany his presence. Despite the temptation to confront him and demand answers, I resist the urge to succumb to base instincts. Disrespect, however, is a line I refuse to countenance, and I confront her with a demand for honesty. Entering into the labyrinth of my thoughts, I find myself ensnared in a web of uncertainty, grappling with the unsettling revelation that my husband, my partner of nearly 25 years, harbors secrets that threaten to unravel the fabric of our marriage. As we approach our 20th anniversary, the specter of infidelity looms large, casting a shadow over the life we have built together. It all began innocently enough, a seemingly inconsequential moment of curiosity sparked by a playful impulse. With a bowl of raw cookie dough in hand, I idly reached for my husband's phone, intending only to playfully engage in a game of words with friends. Yet, as fate would have it, a casual glance at his text messages unearthed a truth far more devastating than I could have imagined. The conversation, veiled in the guise of mundane discussions related to his work, took an unexpected turn when mention was made of a canine companion and adopted dog belonging to his parents. The innocuous exchange sent a shiver down my spine, igniting a sense of foreboding that I could not shake. With a sinking feeling in the pit of my stomach, I confronted him, my heart heavy with apprehension. His initial denials only served to fuel my suspicions, prompting me to delve deeper into the labyrinth of his deleted messages. With each passing moment, the truth began to unravel before me, a chilling narrative of betrayal and deceit emerging from the digital ether. It was at a retirement party for a coworker, an event I was unable to attend due to the illness of our beloved pet, that he first encountered her, the mysterious affair partner. As I grappled with the heartache of bidding farewell to our canine companion, he was ensnared in a web of deceit, orchestrating clandestine rendezvous with a woman whose name I could scarcely bring myself to utter. The messages, fraught with thinly veiled longing and desire, painted a portrait of a man consumed by infatuation, his words dripping with a passion that belied the sanctity of our marital vows. With each missive, the chasm between us widened, the foundation of trust upon which our marriage was built crumbling beneath the weight of his deception. As I confront the painful reality of his infidelity, I am forced to confront the harsh truth that the man I thought I knew, the man with whom I have shared my life, my dreams, and my heart, may not be the person I believed him to be. The road ahead is fraught with uncertainty, yet I am resolved to confront the truth head-on, steeling myself for the difficult conversations and painful decisions that lie ahead. In the intricate tapestry of our marriage, a thread of betrayal weaves a painful narrative, unraveling the fabric of trust that once bound us together. It began innocuously, a casual exchange of messages that hinted at a deeper, more insidious truth lurking beneath the surface. His interactions with her, his clandestine confidant, were marked by a palpable lack of enthusiasm, a stark contrast to the buoyant demeanor he exhibited in her presence. Her responses, though seemingly benign, betrayed a reluctance to reciprocate his affection, her words laden with a veneer of indifference. This betrayal, however, is not an isolated incident but rather the latest chapter in a saga of infidelity that has plagued our marriage for years. Past indiscretions led us down the path of therapy, a journey of self-discovery and reconciliation that ultimately proved futile in the face of his unrepentant transgressions. His justifications ring hollow, his claims of loneliness in our old state serving as a feeble excuse for his betrayal. Despite my efforts to salvage our marriage, I have been left with no choice but to initiate divorce proceedings, a painful yet necessary step towards reclaiming my autonomy and self-worth. His pleas for reconciliation fall on deaf ears, the wounds of his betrayal too deep to heal. Though he promises individual therapy and vows to confront his demons, I remain steadfast in my resolve to sever ties with the man who has shattered my trust and broken my heart. As we navigate the tumultuous waters of divorce, I find solace in the support of friends and family, even as their well-meaning advice serves as a constant reminder of the challenges that lie ahead. Yet, amid the turmoil, I cling to the unwavering support of my father, the one person in whom I can confide my deepest fears and insecurities. The road ahead may be fraught with uncertainty, but I am determined to emerge from this ordeal stronger and more resilient than before. Though the scars of his betrayal may linger, I refuse to let them define me, choosing instead to embrace the promise of a new beginning, a future untainted by the specter of infidelity and deceit. Seeking solace and clarity amidst the tumult of my emotions, I plan to embark on a journey, a pilgrimage of sorts, to visit my brother in a sun-drenched state, where the warmth of the sun may offer respite from the shadows of doubt that cloud my mind. Yet, even as I set my sights on this voyage of self-discovery, I cannot shake the nagging doubt that haunts me, the fear of stepping into a world where the familiar comforts of companionship may no longer be within reach. In moments of vulnerability, I turn to my father for guidance, his words a beacon of wisdom amidst the stormy seas of my emotions. With unwavering candor, he reminds me that my soon-to-be ex-husband is a grown man, fully cognizant of the choices he has made and the consequences they entail. It is a stark truth, one that cuts through the layers of denial and self-delusion, forcing me to confront the harsh reality of our fractured relationship. Initially, I harbored hopes of maintaining a semblance of civility in our interactions, believing that mutual respect and understanding could pave the way for an amicable resolution. Yet, as the dust begins to settle and the wounds of our separation begin to heal, I find myself grappling with a newfound uncertainty, a reluctance to sever the ties that bind us completely. While the finalization of our divorce may herald the end of our legal entanglements, the emotional bonds that once tethered us together remain stubbornly resilient. Though logic dictates that we sever all contact and move forward with our lives, I find myself hesitating, a lingering reluctance to bid farewell to the vestiges of our shared history. As we navigate the uncharted waters of post-divorce life, we find ourselves navigating a delicate dance, a tenuous balancing act between closure and connection. Though our paths diverge, we remain bound by the memories we've shared and the love that once united us. Yet, even amidst the pain of our parting, there lingers a glimmer of hope, a faint whisper of possibility that suggests that perhaps, in time, we may find a way to forge a new beginning, one untethered by the constraints of the past, yet enriched by the lessons we've learned along the way. In the complex web of emotions that entangle my heart, I find myself grappling with a cacophony of conflicting feelings, a tumultuous whirlwind of guilt, regret, and uncertainty. It all began innocuously enough. A casual suggestion from my ex-husband to befriend his coworker's girlfriend, a seemingly harmless act that stirred within me a nagging sense of unease. As I delved deeper into the murky waters of suspicion, I couldn't shake the gnawing doubt that he was concealing more than he let on. The revelation of his clandestine conversations with not one but two women, under the guise of friendship, only served to fuel my growing sense of distrust. In our subsequent discussions, we grappled with the delicate balance between transparency and privacy, grappling with the implications of our newfound dynamic. Yet, despite our best efforts to navigate these uncharted waters, cracks began to appear in the fragile facade of our friendship. His evasive responses and half-truths left me questioning the sincerity of his intentions, casting doubt on the viability of maintaining any semblance of a relationship. It was a bitter pill to swallow, realizing that the person I once trusted implicitly was capable of such deceitful behavior. In a moment of clarity, I realized that I could no longer bear the weight of his deception, nor could I continue to sacrifice my own emotional well-being for the sake of preserving a semblance of normalcy. With a heavy heart and tear-stained cheeks, I made the agonizing decision to sever ties with the one person I had once considered a friend. Yet, even as I took the first tentative steps towards reclaiming my autonomy, a pang of guilt tugged at my heartstrings, a lingering regret that threatened to overshadow my newfound sense of liberation. Had I made the right choice? Only time would tell. As I retreated into the sanctuary of my home, the weight of my decision bore down upon me with crushing force. Regret gnawed at my conscience, a relentless reminder of the myriad what-ifs and could-have-beens that haunted my thoughts. In a moment of desperation, I reached out to him with a tentative offer, a compromise born out of a desire to salvage what little remained of our fractured relationship. Yet, even as I extended the olive branch, I couldn't shake the sinking feeling that perhaps some wounds were simply too deep to heal.